welcome back to my video podcast. My name is Karo and you can find me on Instagram under Karo.Kirsch and also here on YouTube, as you will know since you're watching this. And yes, it's been quite a while. I think my last episode was September, November, who knows, forever ago. And yeah, I lost my knitting mojo, like big time. I wasn't knitting at all running up to Christmas, and it kind of started back up in January a little bit. And now it's like full steam. I'm surrounded with yarn, and I really should have actually already recorded earlier, because now I'm sort of like thinking, ooh, I have a lot I want to share with you guys. But yeah, I actually already recorded last weekend, but unfortunately the sound did not make it. This time I made a little test clip and we have sound, so that's good. Yes, but prepare yourself for a little bit of a lengthy episode. I hope you're going to stay here and join me while I talk about today only knitting and spinning, and I have some yarn acquisitions, quite a few to be honest. And yes, so grab yourself something to drink, or I don't know, knit, and then we can look at the things together. And I'll start as per usual with my finished objects, and there is 3 in a number. No, 4. There is 4, but I only have 3 to show you. So the last thing you would have seen me knit on, I don't know what else I showed, but the one thing that is done now was a little stripy cardigan / sweater for a friend of my daughter. That was, I'll put a picture in now because that's already gifted away. That was a Christmas present. And yeah, I think it turned out really, really nicely. I totally kind of made it up myself, the whole construction. I had like some very, very basic guidelines from an article that my mom actually found in a magazine called Landlust, which is a German magazine with like all sorts of things. It's definitely not knitting. It's not a knitting magazine by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, the original designer is Hannah Ström. I think she's based in Switzerland, and she actually sells these sweatshirts. And yeah, they had a little article on her, and there were like some very basic instructions on how to knit this. But yeah, like you really need to know how to knit. And there was a lot I needed to learn as I went. And yeah, so the nice thing about it is obviously it's stripy, which is always super cute. And it has a super nice button detail band in the back, which is really only decor because you don't really use a button band on the back of a sweatshirt. But it's really, really nice. It's super cute. My mom made one for my daughter already, which she loves. I think I actually already showed that in a previous episode when I was talking about this pattern. But yeah, so the plan was to make this one that you can see for that friend and make a matching one for my daughter. But I didn't have enough left over. Basically, I was out of the gray, the Maus Alt, the Wollmeise yarn, which was the main colorway, and I thought I would have plenty, but apparently I did not. And actually, while I think I was editing the last episode or something, or maybe even already the episode before where I was complaining I don't have that much yarn leftovers, I was seeing the little basket I had in my background with what am I looking for? Oh yeah, with my northeasterly blanket in it. And there's like freaking yarn scraps in there. And I was like, why don't I just make a little cardigan out of those yarn scraps? So I sort of sacrificed my northeasterly blanket, at least all the fingering skeins. I left a few out, like the screeching pink, for instance, because that just didn't go with all the other ones. And I cast on the same cardigan again, and this one I can show you for my daughter, and this one is done also. So here is it. I really, really love it. I love the colors, which makes sense because it's all from previous projects, so I chose those colors at some point. But yeah, it's basically like a blue, green, gray, yellow mix. And I'm not gonna go through all these yarns. They're all scraps, they're all different ones. They're definitely different yarn bases, and they're gonna hold up differently as well. There's already a few that start pilling because like this yellow, for instance, is like a single, a Malabrio single, and then there's sock yarn in there. And it also, it's been worn. Like this has been done since, September, November probably. And my daughter really loves it. It's super big on her still. I'll probably pop in a picture of her wearing it. But I think that's nice because right now I can just fold over the sleeves. And it's kind of fitting like a little dress on her. But eventually it'll just grow with her, or she'll grow and it'll fit better and better. And yeah, it obviously also has the nice button detail. And what I did here in difference to the other one I was actually knitting like a button band, so I had two sides and you can open it, and then I was like, why doing that? A, I'm not very good with button bands, and B, I think it looks nicer and cleaner if it's just one piece. So this is basically just a strip knit between those I picked up on the one side, and then I grafted together the other side, and I just put the buttons on top. And yeah, it goes all the way to the hood, so it has a nice hood. And I even put my cute little label on it. This is my KaroKirsch logo from my channel. I have had them made forever ago. I think when I was still living in Canada, actually. And yeah, it's like suede, and I think it's like heat printed on it or something. So yeah, that's really nice. And I'm very, very happy with this project. And so far it's holding up well. It won't stay pill free, but I guess I could take a gleaner to it at some point. And yes, but very, very happy with this project. Again, the design is by Anna Ström, but I completely winged it because I used a different yarn thickness and things. So it's basically just a raglan sweater, a stripy raglan sweater with a hood. And that's pretty much all the instructions you get to begin with those instructions that we had there in the magazine. So yay. And I'm seeing my battery is running low, so I'll just turn it off now that I don't get cut off in the middle of a sentence. So, the next finished object I have to share with you is a super quick and cute little knit that I whipped up in like 2 days for my daughter in winter. I think I did this one in December. And yeah, it is the Rider Raccoon Cowl by Heidi May. And yeah, she does tons of super cute like little hoods with like that nudge to an animal basically, but it's very, very simple. You basically just cast on a cowl, knit a few stripes, then you split on the one side, and then you knit flat the hood. And she actually has you, I think, 3 needle bind off or something, or mattress stitch it together, I'm not quite sure. But I decided to graft because I just like grafting, and I think it looks so much nicer because then it just looks like it was knit in one piece and you don't know where it stops and where it ends. And then you pick up in the front for a few stitches for the brim. There's a little button, which totally is just decor because you don't open or close that because it's huge. And then you can make little ears and put them on. And yeah, this was very, very quick. Again, like this, the most finicky things is probably adding all these little details. It probably takes the same amount of time as knitting the whole thing. Because I don't even remember what needle size I use. Oh, I have it right in front of me. I have my little cheat phone here on my Ravelry page. I use 9mm needles. It's US size 13. And the yarn I held double, and it was Schachenmeier Nordic Fashion. Now my phone turned itself off. Fashion Nordic Dream. And there is a gray brownish colorway, which is number 84. And then there is a, what was the other color? Black? Yeah, just the black, obviously. Yeah. Which is 99. So yeah, really happy with this. It's very warm. It's quite big though, so I had her actually wear another hat underneath. But yeah, I liked it for the cowl part of it, that her neck is nice and warm, and it would technically even fit me, but I wouldn't really wear this. Oh, but yeah, it's super cute. And she liked it too, so that's always good, because if she doesn't like it, she's not gonna wear it. So that's that. And yeah, the last finished object, which actually was still a work in progress last weekend, and it's still a little damp, is a present for my daughter's nephew. No, it's my nephew. It's her cousin. Yes, and he turned 1. And I made the teddy bear sweater by, now I need a cheat again, by Petite Knit. And yeah, I knit this also with some stash yarn. This is really blowing out, but basically it is a red, so it's not that wrong, I guess, from the color. And it's a very simple raglan sweater, and it has this very nice embroidery detail of a little bear's face on the front. I knit this size 1 to 2 year old, but I haven't checked my gauge. Maybe I could do that just to see if it's really meant to be this big, because it's very big. I think my daughter could wear this, and she is turning 3 in April. So, and he just turned 1. We'll see. The good thing is they grow pretty quickly at this stage. So if it doesn't fit him this year, it'll fit him next year or the year after, and it'll still be good. Yes, but I used stash yarn for this. I had one Christmas, I had the crazy idea I would be able to knit mittens for every family member that we gift presents to at Christmas. It's not that many, but still, it's a lot of mittens to knit. I think it's like 8 people or something. And I ordered the yarn for like a bunch of Selbu mittens. I think I got a pack from Skandier Knits. She released like a whole pack of different Selbu mittens. Anyways, I managed to knit 1 pair, and all the rest never got knit. And I had a lot of yarn left over, and the yarn I bought for that was Drops Big Merino Light, or just Merino Light. But it's a DK 100% merino wool superwash yarn, and this is the colorway 11, which is bright red, primary red. Yes, but very happy with this. Again, this is still damp. I need to let this dry before we can send it back. So yeah, that was all my finished objects. I mean, it's been a while, but you know, I guess I only finished the sweater just now. But that's a recent knit. All the other ones were actually already finished before my mojo kind of left me. Yes, anyways, so what am I knitting on right now? Let's start with the one that is actually nearly done. That is also a gift knit. It's the birthday present. Is it the birthday present? Yeah, it's the birthday present for my mom. Her birthday was back in October, but I basically just gave her a voucher for a sweater she could choose. And we didn't get around to even picking a pattern until Christmas, so I didn't start until Christmas. We settled on the quintessential cardigan by Church Mouse Yarns and Tees. And as the name suggests, it's a very no-frill kind of cardigan. It has just a basic rib stockinette up, but it's sewn together construction. So you knit it all in pieces and then you sew it all together. Yes, and let me show you where I am. So I finished the front and back, and they're already attached and even blocked, freshly blocked. So still nice sticky together kind of. So this is the back, and yeah, again, it's just a very simple 1x1 rib and then stockinette all the way up. And then you have armhole shaping in the front and in the back. Front is the same, but you obviously knit that in two because there is a button band in between, which I still need to choose buttons. But yeah, so this is done. And she has like a cardigan that she really likes and that we're kind of modeling this one after. And this luckily fits those dimensions, so that's good. And currently I'm on the sleeves, and there things didn't go quite as smoothly. So I did finish one sleeve, but I am playing a major yarn chicken on this project. So I'm holding two strands together. So I'm getting a very nice mold effect. And the two yarns I'm holding together is one, the Holst Supersoft, which is, I'm starting to really love this yarn. And you'll see there'll be plenty more in this episode of this yarn. It's not the last you'll see. But I got this way back when I was planning on knitting the hunter vest for my husband, but I actually never used this yarn. So now I'm using it for all other kinds of projects. And anyway, so I'm using this. I definitely have plenty of this. As you can see, this used to be a 500 gram cone. And I think there's like 100 grams left on this one. And I'm holding it together, and you can already tell my yarn chickening with Drops Lace, which again is a stash yarn I had from forever ago. I knit a shawl, actually, a lace shawl, my very first lace shawl with two colors held together of this yarn. And I think I had 2 skeins of each color, and I basically only needed 1 skein. And I had a little bit left of that skein, and that little bit might freaking save my behind on this project. Because when I was knitting this, I haven't found this little bitty, and I was already starting to use my swatches. And I had 2 swatches. The one swatch starts here. Can you see? There's like a little hole from where I joined the yarn. And then the second swatch already starts here. So that already told me that I probably didn't have enough yarn for the second sleeve. And the other problem was that this one's actually too short. And then my mom was actually here the other weekend. It's not only too short, it's also too tight. But then, once she left, the day after, I found like 15 grams more of this yarn. And I was like, thank the heavens. But I'm still a little bit scared. So what I need to do, so this needs to obviously get longer and also wider. I did knit the second sleeve already, but this one's currently blocking and I kind of want to keep it that way. So we'll see. That turned out actually much bigger than this one. So we'll see after blocking how it is. I'll measure it. I definitely know the length I'll need. And it seems to be actually a little bit longer, which wouldn't be too terrible because then I could just take out the arm shaping. And because like you start in the bottom, you do some increases, and then you have a section where you just knit straight before you do the whole armhole shaping. And I could just rip back to here and then take out of the straight section. If it is too long, and I definitely don't think it's too short or anything. It might be okay, or it's too long. We'll see. And yeah, and then I'll have to restart this one because this is definitely too small. But yeah, that's where I am on this project. I think it'll be very nice. So the Holst Supersoft, even though it's called Supersoft, it's not that super soft. It's actually a fairly rustic yarn. I mean, it's very rustic when you knit with it, when it comes like straight off the cone. It does soften after washing, like the first 2 times, definitely very noticeable, but also then just with wear. Like I have the Weekender sweater, which in the beginning I was a little bit apprehensive because I am very or quite sensitive when it comes to rustic yarns, especially like on like my arms and obviously this area, but usually you can just wear a t-shirt underneath. But yeah, it did soften enough and now it's like my favorite sweater ever and I have no issues wearing it. But this one is a little bit tighter than my Weekender, but I don't think my mom is quite as sensitive. So we'll see. We'll see how it wears on her. It's definitely good that we decided to make the sleeves wider because those tight sleeves, that wouldn't have worked well with the itchiness. And also as a cardigan, because a cardigan you kind of always wear over something. And my mom, again, as my sister, also likes to wear blouses. I don't really wear blouses, so I don't really have that issue. But trying to pull a super tight cardigan over a blouse can be quite cumbersome. So I'm hoping that the second sleeve version is okay. I hope it's not too wide now. It seemed pretty massive when I was knitting on it and stuff, but it does change quite a bit, the yarn, when you block it, mainly because the yarn blooms. So we'll see. We'll just have to see. And I might even have to wait and try it on my mom again before I make a final decision, especially with the width. Like with the length, okay, we just measured that, but the width, I'm not quite sure. But anyways, this is technically not that far from being done because this also goes very fast. I'm knitting this with 3.5mm needles. And yeah, it goes very fast. I think the sleeve, the second one I knit now, took me like maybe 3 days or something. So that shouldn't be that bad. But yeah, definitely wish me luck that I'm not running out of yarn. That's the one work in progress. And I hope to finish this soon. The second one that I have on my needles will be a curious one for you because you'll be looking at it thinking, hang on, I do know this. And then, no, I don't know this, at least not from you. What I'm talking of, and maybe I'll just show you, is this. This is the Metamorphic sweater by Andrea Maury, which is a pattern she just released back in March, beginning of March, I think, or just maybe in February. And I am knitting it as part of the DRK March to May knit along, I think it's just called. I took part last year where I knit the Weekender. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to finish this, although I'm making actually quite good progress on this. But what I like about this project, it is my shifty. So this is the yarn that I did use for my shifty. And as you can tell, now it's in this project. So I did decide to just rip out the shifty. It was just getting on my nerves. It was turning out to be quite a tight fitting sweater, and I don't know if you can tell, but somebody is growing inside me currently. So it's definitely gonna be super tight for me right now, and who knows how I'll look after. So I wasn't going to bank on that sweater fitting me after I gave birth to my second child. But yeah, I'm definitely very happy I'm doing this project right now, and you do knit this inside out. So this is the right side. So it's all stockinette in stripes. One, you just switch every row. But at the end, you do turn it around, and maybe I can just partially do that. And you have these very nice details. So you have this slip stitch detail that carries itself up the center front, center back, and on top of the sleeves, on the side and under the sleeve as well. And yeah, I think it looks really nice. I love this whole slip stitch idea because it totally hides the jog between changing colors. So that's really, really nice. So in the end, you won't be able to tell, like here, this is the back side. I mean, if you really closely look, you can tell that you change yarn there. There, you can see like, but that might even go away once you block the project. But nobody will be able to tell who's not a knitter anyways. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with this. And yeah, I kind of just stopped knitting the body and went over to knit the sleeves for basically 2 reasons. One, I was kind of a little bit scared that I'm running out of yarn or of the hand dyed. So I wanted to make sure that I get the sleeves long enough, because that's very important for me, because I love really long sleeves. And then see what I do with the body. I even went as far and purchased, I'll show you, more fiber of this fiber actually, the Noob Persia from Malabrigo, to, if I needed, spin some more yarn for this project. But I think maybe I'm actually fine. I mean, I have to do some thinking again. I can show you what I kind of have left. I'll look a little bit messy now with all my yarn. But this is what I still have left. And as you can see, there is like the more blue, which is what I'm currently knitting with. And then there is the more gray, which was what I started my shifty up top with. And I guess if I use the gray as well, then I might have enough. I definitely won't have enough just with the blue. But I guess now, with having ordered more yarn, I do have the option of just keeping it all blue. This is how my transition, like, remember, I used to want to have pink in the top and then a little brown pink, and now I'm just kicking out all the other colors. Now I'm even considering maybe kicking out the gray yarn and just have the blue. But at the same time, I think it is nice. I mean, there is a little bit of a color shift in this from the light blue section to the dark blue, which is really nice, and it'll turn now into kind of more this blue after this darker section here. So yeah, maybe it'll be nice to have the gray in there. I'll just see. I'll see where I end up in the sweater and kind of knit on every side a little bit. I probably stop the sleeve here at some point and maybe continue knitting this sleeve, and then just see how much yarn I have left and what I'll decide. But so far, I'm enjoying this. This was actually just kind of a backup project that I cast on, because I was waiting on so many yarns. Like when I was knitting the teddy bear sweater, I actually had 2 skeins in my stash, or not even, like 1.5 or something. And it wasn't enough for the whole sweater, so I had to order more, and I had to wait for that, so I couldn't continue knitting on that sweater. And then also with this, I had to wait because before I found that little leftover bit I was telling you about, I was sure I was gonna run out of yarn. So I was actually waiting on this, that I thought I would just like alternate with holding together with the Holst for the sleeves. Although looking at this color now, it probably would be pretty noticeable. Much lighter sleeves than the body. But that was kind of what I was waiting for, to see if it would work with this yarn. Which now, luckily, I don't have to do the whole sleeves with it. Maybe just a tiny little bit, but that's, I don't know, that might be okay. If it's not the whole sleeve, it might be not quite as noticeable. Anyways, so yeah, I couldn't knit on both of these projects, so I cast on this one, and look how far I got just from doing that, from waiting for yarn, basically. So yeah, also very fast, or I'm just knitting a lot lately. Again, like my mojo is like full on back. I'm like super into knitting right now. But I also did some spinning. So this was all my works in progress. I'm basically just working on these 2. As you know, I have a few others that are kind of started whips lingering, but I haven't touched them in forever. I don't know if I'm going to actually finish my flax light ever. I mean, I need to rip that back anyway, so I'll see if I just reknit it or find something else. But yeah, those are the 2 active projects. But I did do some spinning. Andrea Maury again. She actually started a knit and spin, or a spin and knit along back in February, the end of February, I believe. She just started spinning for some socks and decided she'll make a cowl out of it. And yeah, the idea was that you spin some yarn for socks and then you knit the socks. And the pattern is the DRK Everyday Socks, I believe it's called. I didn't get as far. The knit and spin along is nearly over. It runs till end of March. And I'm done at this point. I did a spin, and the idea I had, and I think it succeeded, I'll have to see once they knit up, but the idea I had was to spin for matching socks. So I had, and I'll probably blend in a bunch of pictures right now. I had, again, from my advent calendar I mentioned before, I had 6 different colors. So 3 different reds. They were basically the same red, and then a white, an orange, and a green, brown, orange color. And yeah, I kind of ordered them up, and then I split them all in half, and then the one half, and I just kept the same color repeat, so to speak, and spun these the same. So they're a 3-ply, a traditional 3-ply. And especially the very first section, which is on the outside right now, it turned out very Christmassy because I virtually have like red, white, and green together. But I think the rest is just more reddish orange sock. We'll see. So I'm very curious to see how big the stripe sections will be. It looks pretty big for me, and this will definitely be more than one pair of socks. This looks like a lot of yarn. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm just curious to see how these will actually knit up as socks, and if there will be as matching as it kind of looks right now. I was pretty happy when I saw this, and I thought, yeah, those could be matching socks. So yeah, definitely planning on knitting those, but again, I won't be able to do that within the next, 3 days? I mean, I could if I put everything else aside, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, but as a spin, actually didn't take any measurements. I just forgot. I forgot to count my yardage on these. They're definitely a fingering. They're even like a light fingering, so I'm pretty proud of that. It was like my first really intentional spin as well. So far, I might have had something in mind that I might make with it, but I definitely wasn't like aiming for like a stronger wearing yarn that is fingering weight for what you need for socks. So I definitely had that in mind. So it's a very high twist yarn, and I hope it'll be hard wearing. I have no idea about the contents, again, because of the Advent thing. So if I'm lucky, there's a little bit of nylon in there, or maybe some plant fibers, but I just don't know. So we'll see. So I made it very high twist. That should also help. And then since it is very thin, I'll probably get a very, very tight gauge. So we'll see. Curious. I'll definitely knit these up at some point. Maybe next year's spinning it along or something, or a sock along. There will be a sock along coming up at some point. Yeah, so that was my spinning. No, it's not. Actually, I started spinning. Some of that Malabrigo noob. Ugh, hang on, how do I do this? I have to hold my e-spinner here. There. I did start just because I felt like spinning, not because I'm already decided that I'll spin up more for that cardigan, that sweater. But I have a lot of this fiber now, and maybe we'll get into the acquisitions right now, then I can just show you. Because as I told you, I did order 2 more braids of the Malabrigo noob in the Persia colorway, which is what I used for the spin for my shifty originally. And I actually also ordered one more braid of the colorway Poisson. Those two or those three are actually not here yet. They're at the post office because I wasn't at home when it was delivered, so technically would have been here. But my aunt, my birthday happened actually just recently, and she kind of knew. I don't know how, but look what was in her present to me. 3 braids of the Malabrigo Noob in the Persia colorway. And I was like, how is that even possible? Like, this is only a half braid now. This is the one I started spinning from already. These are 2 full ones. And I love this colorway. I really love this. This is 100% merino wool. It's super, super soft. And I really love the colors. I mean, yeah, this is blue. It's just totally my vibe. So I'll have plenty, definitely enough for my metamorphic if I do run out of yarn. But yeah, I'll probably have enough for a whole other project with those 3 and then the 2 more that I ordered for myself. I decided not to cancel that order because, yeah, I mean, if I do put some in the metamorphic, then that, like, just a remainder of this would probably be not enough for a whole other project. So I figured I'll just get more, and then I actually have a sweater's quantity of just hand spun and maybe make a sweater just out of hand spun. Wouldn't that be something? So yeah, this got into my possession. I don't know. I also did order some more spin fiber, which I originally bought for the sock spin along with Andrea Maury, but the colors didn't quite turn out for what I was hoping. So this was the braid I ordered with my sock spin in mind. I'll put the information down below. I just don't remember, and I don't have the ball band handy right now. And yeah, I do like it. But and that was the original idea, I was planning to make stripy socks, and I just didn't feel I had enough variation in this. It did look a little bit different on the picture. It looked like there was more of this, but it's basically just one section where you have the green blue and the rest of this orange. And I was definitely hoping for this end basically to be this green blue again, and then I could have just broken it up and have a bunch of different stripes of those 2 colors, or like variations of it. That was kind of the idea when I saw this online. I still like it. I'll still definitely use it. I'll see if I keep the colors together, or because this orange is quite glaring, I might have to mix this together with something else to mute it down. Maybe just like a brown or something, or something dark, without turning it to mud, I guess. Yeah, so no plans. I just decided it's probably not gonna be for that sock spin because I wanted stripy socks. But yeah, this couldn't travel alone, so I picked up 2 more braids. And this actually still has the ball band, so I can tell you what it is. So this one is 50% merino, 33.3% yak, and 16.7% silk. And yeah, I kind of got these with the Spark cardigan in mind. That is a project I want to spin for, at least definitely for the contrast color. We'll see if also for the main color, but definitely for the contrast color. So that was kind of what I had in mind. It turned out a little bit more, and I don't think it does read actually as I wanted it. And I guess that's why this color doesn't read on camera very well. It looks bluer, but it has more green in it. And it's not a terrible color. It's turquoise. I used to love this color, but I'm definitely more blue these days and not so turquoise. So we'll see. Maybe I'll make a test spinning it with this together. You can see that there's more green when you see the real blue next to it. Maybe just toning it down with this will push it more towards the blue as I want it. I don't know. Maybe I'll make it a test or something. But yeah, so that came to me. So I got this at Spindelträume, which is a German indie dyer. She also does yarn, but yeah, she also does fiber, which I do like. I do like buying hand-dyed fiber, more so than hand-dyed yarn. I guess because of hand-dyed yarn, I like to try my own hand, even though I'm not that good, but for the fiber, for some reason, I like buying that from indie dyers. Yes, so that was all the spinning fiber that I purchased. And then I did buy some yarn. And this is for a project that I have specifically in mind to gift again for the daycare mom of my daughter, because we are switching to kindergarten at the end of the summer. And I wanted to have a little gift for her because my daughter loved it there. Like, there wasn't a single day she didn't want to go, which I think is a pretty good sign. Anyways, and she likes to wear black and gray clothes as far as I can tell. So I figured I'll make her, and she likes to wear like something around her neck, be it a shawl, what's the word? Just like a thin, Jesus, I can't come up with a word. I'm going to give up. She likes to wear stuff around her neck. And yeah, I decided to make and now I'm thinking of the northeasterly blanket, the Up North cowl by Jill Zielinski. I'll put in a picture so you know what I'm talking about. So it's a very high contrast, big patterned kind of cowl, kind of inspired by Native American, or at least that's what it reminds me of. I don't know if that's the inspiration, but that's definitely what it reminds me of. Yes, and I want to make that one. I haven't decided yet. You can make like a one-time wrap or like a two-time wrap. I feel like the two-time wrap is probably more like, yeah, as a scarf for outside. And the one-time might be able to be worn inside, but I did choose this yarn, and it is the Wollmeise blend, which I already made a project with, my boxy. And it's really, really nice. So the Wollmeise blend is a blend of 70% wool, merino wool, 20% cashmere, and 10%, it has weird leather. So that's why I'm confused, and 10% nylon in it. It's crazy, crazy soft. And yeah, I ordered these two, and I'm not 100% happy, I have to admit. I guess they weren't looking that different online, but I had something else in my head. So this looks and reads black, but it is supposed to be a gray. It's called Heavy Metal, the colorway. And it is a little bit, it looks like a washed out black basically, which might be what is intended. But I was kind of, I guess, aiming for a little bit more obvious gray rather than a black. And this one, again, I was hoping for a little bit more gray and not quite as blue and pink, because again, she is like a black and gray kind of person. I was thinking I'll do a dark gray and a light gray, but I wanted to have some variation in the contrast color. So I went for this, but it's just a little bit more pink. It's nice. I really like it. Like, I definitely like this one. I would totally knit this for me. I'm not sure if that's the daycare mom of my daughter, but I see. I have to simmer on this a little bit, but those two were intended for this, and they'll probably end up in the Up North cowl. But yeah, I was a little taken aback by the colors not being quite what I had in my head. Even though I think actually they do look like that on the webpage. So no fault to them. And it's super nice and soft. And I know this yarn is nice and super fun to work with. And it does pill a little bit just because it's cashmere and stuff. But for a shawl or cowl, I think that's okay. It's not that hard wearing, or doesn't need to be as hard wearing. So yeah, that moved in, and then I have a whole lot more. How far in are we? I hope you guys aren't like terribly bored already. But I have one project that's just keeping me like so busy. I actually don't sleep very well because I'm pregnant right now, and there's just lots of things happening at the moment as well. So I do spend quite a few nights actually wandering around in the apartment, and I did spend some time picking up a project that I started back in 2020, and that didn't even get to the knitting stage because I decided to redesign the Indian Nights blanket by Janice Hope. I'll put in a picture of how the original design looked. And what roped me into this design is basically the colors. I really love the colors, and they reminded me of the north, of cold weather, and the whole elephants and tropical birds didn't really go with that together, at least in my head. Okay, sorry, I had a short interruption here. So I was telling you about the Indian Nights blanket, and I decided to redesign it. And back in 2020, when I started this, I think I redesigned 2 charts of the 14 that are in this pattern, or I think it's technically, no, it's not 14, it's 15, 16, 17, 18 charts. It's 18 charts. Although 4 are basically the same. Anyways, yes, so I redesigned 2. One of them was a parallelogram, whatever the English term is. It's like a skewed square, which I put an Aurora Borealis on. And the other one, and I can show you that, it did change color a little bit, but that was the ravens. So that's also a parallelogram, which is that skewed square. And that's how this one ended up. And yeah, I'm really happy. So, but the Aurora actually did not stay. It became a polar bear. Yeah, I really love this. And I did a bunch more. So, nope, this is not, this is an old one. This is, yeah, that's where the Aurora ended up. I did a float plane. I did a loon. So I basically was inspired by my trips to northern Canada. This is just a snowflake. I basically turned all the flowers and snowflakes and all the animals in different animals, or like she just had fully patterned ones where I just put some animals from the north. This one is very similar to the original. I basically, yeah, these were flowers and those are now snowflakes. This is the same. This is very similar, but it's slightly different, and I think the bottom I kept the same. Obviously changed all the colors, but some of the elements she had in her patterns stayed. Okay, this one, and I don't even remember which ones of these are kind of original. I think I changed both of these, or maybe this one is an original, I don't know. This one's an original. This one I changed. Original. Changed. This one's very similar to the original, but it's slightly changed. And I think this might be original. I don't know. But yeah, so that's all the charts. And I'm going to start knitting this project. So I finished all the charts, like, I don't know, the first 2 back in 2020. I think that took me like a month or something to redesign those 2 charts. And I figured out a quite nerdy way to do this in Excel, where I even like count basically the number of stitches in whatever particular color in order to be able to roughly estimate how much yarn I'll need of each color. Because what I did, I actually did place in order basically just the same colors as she used, but in Holst Supersoft. And here we get into the Holst Supersoft again. But since I ordered cones instead of just balls, that has like a 4 to 6 week delivery time. Within those 4 to 6 weeks, I think I placed the order end of February, maybe. again, my whole Knitting Mojo's totally picked up in February and it's strong going since then. Anyways, so yeah, within that time span, I actually finished designing this and made this nerdy spreadsheet, which then it gave me some more idea of how much yarn I'll need, because there's lots of project notes and there's somebody else who did the blanket with a Holst Supersoft and actually weighed each single section. So I had roughly an idea how much a single stitch would weigh. Obviously with the floats and stuff, it doesn't really work that well, but it's an estimate, right? And so I could actually adjust my order again, and also just from the color placement, because I was playing around with the colors a lot, I actually can insert a picture of my mock-up of what the blanket might look like in the end with all my charts now, which I did in PowerPoint, where I just took the charts basically as they were and removed the background and then repeated them all over. And yeah, and then I could reduce the colors a little bit that she used. She used quite a few different yellows and a few different greens and a lot of blues. I also have a lot of blues, and I basically just have one yellow and stuff like that, so that there's not that much waste, because that was definitely a note I read a lot, that people had a lot of yarn left over, which I think I'll have with some of the contrast colors, but I think of the big amounts, I actually won't have that much left over. But let me show you now my colors. So maybe the big ones first. There. I'm mega happy with the colors I chose, by the way. So yeah, this is all Holst Garn Supersoft. And let me tell you the colors. So this one is denim, which is, as the name suggests, just a jeans blue. Very nice. And these are 500 grams cones. This one is a chiffon, which is like, it's a variegated kind of yarn. So it's like a light blue, but it has a little bit of purple and a little bit of teal in it. And this is my lightest background color, which I'll use probably the most in the blanket. And then this, which is my favorite of the bunch, is Vintage Heather. Oh yeah, Heathered is the name I meant. And it is heathered. So this one has like dark blue and light blue in it. It actually reads lighter on camera than it actually is. It's a very nice night blue color. And these are actually not quite as massive anymore as they used to be. I did wind off cakes of this, or actually skeins, so I could wash it, because this yarn, or at least the dark colors, they do bleed. And yeah, I didn't want to have this color together with this and then wash it and then have this color. And this actually did bleed quite a lot. I did wash it this morning. So yeah, that's why I did that. And also most of my squares I'll end up will have these three main colors in them. And I think it'll be just very cumbersome to have always these three cones on my couch basically with me while I'm knitting on it. So I decided to, even though it's nice to have very, very few ends that you need to weave in, but yeah, I think since this is such a long-term project, and if you always have to haul around these three cones with you, I feel like we'll get knit on less. So yeah, I did wind off some here. The clarity, the chiffon I didn't wash, because I don't think this will bleed anywhere, because this is the lightest color I have. So I'll work with these little bit more handy cakes of yarn. But yeah, so those are the three main colors I have. And then I obviously have a few contrast colors. And can I show you these 6 at the same time? Yes. So then I have these, which this is Karo, where I have 2, and this is Old Gold, which I wanted 2. They only had 1 left because it's an old colorway. So I really hope I'm not screwing myself up with this, but technically my fancy cheat sheet says 1 could be enough. I just wanted to be safe in order to. But the other yellows weren't as nice. Like this is a nice deep yellow, and the other ones were kind of more muted, and I really wanted something to pop, so I went with this. And then the bluish teal is, what is it, Treasure? And then the green on top is Large. So those are these contrast colors, which as you can see, I did not wash because I feel like they're all light enough. And now I need to get the last two, 1 second. And the last two colors I got, which I both washed because I was scared of them, are two reds. And yeah, they do not read. I think this one reads correctly, which is kind of a deep red leaning towards purple. This one's called Jasper. And then this one, it looks way more red than it actually is. It's a nice deep red. This looks as screeching red as my teddy bear sweater. Maybe I'll hold that one in the camera as well. It'll become a bit more muted. Yeah, I don't know. It still doesn't read properly, but whatever. Actually looked pretty similar. Again, the camera problem is super hard to capture some colors. It did look more red on the picture when I ordered too, but it was a happy surprise that this is actually a bit more muted. So I'm really happy with this, and I'm actually, you won't be seeing this as well, but this combination, I'm already seeing like a colorwork sweater. So if I do have some left over of these two, it's definitely gonna become some kind of colorwork, because I think those two colors are just awesome together. But also those two, not quite as contrasty, but man, yeah, maybe those two. Jesus, they're just so nice combinations. Like I really like these colors as is, and I'm super excited to put them all in one project. So yeah, these still need to dry. I've been very good at having cast it on. Like I had everything together yesterday, actually. This yarn I got into my hands yesterday, and I was so tempted to just start knitting, but I'm very glad I didn't, and that it was good. And I started washing, especially the vintage heather, the dark blue, because that's bleeding like crazy. So it was a good call to do this and wait and be patient and not get started right away, because I would have ruined them. But yeah, that is my big knitting dream. This will accompany and henceforth you guys as well for quite a while. I'll see how I'll do this, because I felt like the shifty, for instance, it just got so stale, like keeping this project coming back up and back up and back up because there were so many problems. I feel like you probably were just like, oh man, just stop talking about the shifty already. And I don't want this to be the same, but I feel like with this, there will not be quite as much back and forth, at least I hope. So let's hope this will just be, edit a new square, look at it, look how nice it is, and now I'm doing another one. So it'll be at least different things. I'll show you off the same project. But yes, that's that. I think we have enough time on the camera roll right now. I do have a few things that I did want to show you, but I think I'll just save that till next episode. Well, the one thing might actually not be... Hang on, I show you one of the three things I have here. Again, my birthday was there, and for this blanket that I'm planning to knit, there's obviously a bunch of charts. So I wanted to have one of these, and maybe I'll just show you before I try to explain what it is. But what this is the Coco Knits Maker's Board, and here's my missing chart where you saw the polar bear. So this is actually the central square of the fox for my blanket. And what you can do, you can basically just, with magnets, you pin it to the board and you can prop it up. And I did order some strips, some magnetic strips that you can keep your line, and then you can just keep track where you are in the pattern. And yeah, I wished for this for my birthday, and my husband got it for me, but I have to say I'm not very happy with the quality. Or the quality seems okay, but it seems still cheaply made, if that makes any sense, because it's like open. I mean, it's supposed to be washable, so you can take out these metal plates here, but I would have preferred if those were just closed. Like, I don't know why you would want to wash this. I don't know. tell me what the big purpose for that is, but I don't know. It's a little bit flimsy. It doesn't really stand that well, you know, like it doesn't hold good here. And the other thing, it's supposed to be for A4 paper, but it's not. So I'll give it a little bit, but I think I'm gonna send it back and maybe get the Knit Pro one that seems a bit more sturdy. So yeah, just quickly show you this. This obviously looks much nicer than the Knit Pro one, which is why I went for it, because it's a birthday present and I thought it would be nice to get the one that looks nice as well. And with the price, I expected it to be really well made and functional. But unfortunately, I don't think it's quite as functional as I want it to be. So I'll think on that a bit, but you might not be able to see this one again. Maybe a different one next time. But yeah, that is definitely all I want to share today. Again, I'll keep the rest for next episode. There's 2 more projects that I want to talk about, but since I haven't even started them, I think it's fine to just wait with that once I actually get into them. So if you made it to the end, congratulations. Thank you very much for being here. Yeah, I have so much fun producing these episodes. I really like actually the whole editing process, even though it does take me quite a while. But yeah, it got a little bit more difficult to record because my daughter does not nap anymore, and usually nap time was a perfect time to do this. And now it's just hard to find like a quiet time to sit down and record. Plus, I didn't really have a whole lot of Knitting Mojo to begin with, so there wasn't much to update you guys on. But that's why I guess I didn't manage back in February, where I definitely already had enough rambling for you guys. But yeah, I guess today you got the full package. The whole long episode is probably an hour, maybe even longer. I hope not longer. But yeah, I'll stop here. Thank you for watching, and I hope you tune in next time. Bye bye.